Hello and welcome Universe Mode. This is ECW. This is the A show of the week to blah 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 blah. I mean, it's still got a significant dent to it in the fact that Diamond Dallas Page is somehow still the ECW champion. But lo and behold, we can relax because we will be hearing minimal from Diamond Dallas Page. Matter of fact, though, despite the fact I said the word minimal, that fat man, that big bastard, that useless prick, that whatever other offensive things I can think of. He's going to be speaking later on tonight regarding something. I don't know, about 6 people are going to listen, and 5 of them are going to be Diamond Dallas Page's family. The other person going to be himself, because he loves himself. But you know what? That's his own problem. Diamond Dallas Page can have something to say tonight regarding Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank. I don't care. What I really care about is the main event. It's going to be a non-title matchup. Former ECW champion and soon to be 3-time ECW champion Seth Rollins will go one-on-one with the ECW television champion Dean Ambrose later on tonight. That's going to be an interesting main event matchup to say the least, and I'm looking forward to that one at the end of it all. I think it's going to be a very good main event, and it's going to show a little bit of a Shield fallout, certainly. But before we get to that, we're going to start things off with the Cruiserweight Championship up for grabs. Alright, let's kick this show off good. Let's get it underway. The Cruiserweight Championship up for grabs for the first time since he lost that title at One Night Stand. Akira Tozawa finally back. It has been a while since we've seen this man, but yes, of course, last time he was around, he lost his Cruiserweight Championship to the man who currently holds it, that of course being Suicide. Tozawa was brutally attacked by the Authors of Pain, the ECW before the match. So we didn't really have a chance to put up much of a fight, really, against Suicide, but here tonight, he's had time to recover. He's got a really a little bit of a something to him. I don't know what I'm going with that. He's got motivation behind him. He's got every reason to try and hold on to that title. Suicide just appeared out of thin air. He is that good. Because he is the Cruiserweight Champion. He is the currently unstoppable Cruiserweight Champion, having not lost a single match since making his return to this universe in the Cruiserweight Classic. Will he be holding on to that title that's around his waist by the end of tonight? Or by the end of this match even? We will find out. With, of course, Tozawa now at peak fitness, back from his injury. Will this be something that Suicide doesn't really want to deal with? Will it be a problem for Suicide, or will he be able to just go through it, get it out of the way and be able to successfully defend that Cruiserweight Championship? He heads towards the ring so slow, so methodical. We don't really know anything about Suicide, as I have said many times in the past. We truly don't know anything. We just know that he walks to the ring like this. He moves in a cold, calculated way, but when that bell rings, he is just so difficult to stop, and just there is kind of no easy way of getting around him. He is almost, to be fair, he is inevitable. Kind of like how he thinks maybe Suicide is inevitable. I don't know. He's a bubbly ray of sunshine is what he is, really. But he's beaten Tozawa before. Can he beat Tozawa again? My money is telling me yes, that he can. But you never know. That bit inside you, that hearty view that thinks that someone, that underdog can fight on. That's that bit of me that's telling me that Tozawa can overcome this. Suicide is the odds-on favorite, to be fair, heading into this matchup, and it won't be much of a surprise if Suicide is your winner. However, with that being said, he will have to keep his wits about him in the Cruiserweight division, because we will be having another Cruiserweight matchup later on tonight, which should be a bit of an interesting one. That, of course, being a rematch from last week between Chris Jericho and... No, sorry, not a rematch from last week. A rematch from Heatwave between Chris Jericho and Neville. Here is Tozawa. Is he going to be able to recapture that Cruiserweight Championship here tonight at, a really small Cruiserweight? Credit where credit's due. He is not that, well, look at the difference already, just looking at these two. Suicide, we've said in the past, Suicide is a big Cruiserweight, and it's showing right there how that is the case. Look at the size difference between the two. Suicide with no emotion there as he holds onto that Cruiserweight Championship on his shoulder. Let's see if that'll stay the case by the end of this matchup. Always a great way to kick things off on ECW with a Cruiserweight match, and Glad we can bring this one here to you tonight in Pittsburgh, of course. Here's the title. Who is going to walk out with that belt? We will find out. Rematch from One Night Stand. The bell rings eventually, and we are underway. Look at the difference between the two as they lock up. Just the height difference, the size difference, the weight difference. This should give Suicide all rhyme and reason to successfully walk out with that Cruiserweight Championship. So we'll see what's going to happen here as things get underway. Quick suplex by Suicide. As this match gets, as they get through the feeling out process of this matchup, let's talk about what we can expect to see later on tonight in the ECW card that we have provided here tonight. Coming up after this, there'll be a tag team matchup. D.I.Y will take on the new ECW tag team champions, the Wyatt family. And of course being Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. They are other compatriot or whatever, their other member of the Wyatt family. Aleister Black still has not been sighted yet in ECW since what transpired at Heatwave. Following up after that, I should say, we will be seeing that rematch from Heatwave when Chris Jericho goes one-on-one with Neville. And moving on from that, Roddy Strong's quest to become #1 contender for the ECW Television Championship will once more be met with a tough challenge, this time from the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. If Roddy Strong is able to get through this matchup here tonight, I see no reason why he shouldn't be the #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. Cruiserweight Championship, Television Championship. So hopefully for Roddy Strong's sake, he's going to get the win here tonight. And of course we have the Diamond Dallas Page promo. And then we have the main event. Rollins versus Ambrose. A bit of fallout from the Shield, who of course have split up over 2 years ago at this point. So, a little bit of an interesting one right there. But there we go, back to this matchup right now. Good stuff here, back and forth thus far. Suicide with a cracking forearm in the face there. Elbow in the back as well. This is where the speed of Suicide comes into play, along with those harsh kicks of his. Akira Tozawa has his own harsh kicks, but Suicides just have that little bit more to them, that little bit more of a lasting effect. Up on top now, good counter by Tozawa. He's going to take flight. Oh, Cannibal sent on from the top rope. Very nicely done. Can Tozawa now take control of this one? It seems so. Maybe underestimated Tozawa before this matchup. Good work there by Suicide. Good counter again there by Tozawa, though, out of that suplex. Look at how quick Suicide is to stop him in his tracks. Drop kick into the back, straight into the cover here. And Tozawa is straight out of it as well. There's no resting in between these two men right now, and that is what I am liking. Very much so. Suicide trying to demand Tozawa to get up to his feet, and Tozawa's getting up slowly. Has that injury still got an effect on Tozawa? It seems not right now. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's a nasty landing to say the least. Right on the neck and well, maybe at the top of the bottom, even the bottom of the neck and the back. But look at how Tozawa was able to fight back. But it's the same said for Suicide. These two men back and forth right now to kick things off. There is no love lost between these two men, it seems, as they both desperately want to become Cruiserweight champion. Tozawa wants to hold on to that belt again, and he wants to become the first person to defeat Suicide since he's made his return to this universe. What a way that would be to dent the momentum of the winner of the Cruiserweight Classic. German suplex now. There's a German by Tozawa. But Suicide props right back up to his feet. And a good counter as well. Suicide now needs to get a big move here. Consistently going for strikes isn't going to be enough to help him win this matchup. He needs something big, and he doesn't seem to be getting it right now. Single knee gutbuster and another sent on. Tozawa now into the cover. Will he reclaim the Cruiserweight Championship with this? There's a 2 count, and it's just a 2. Elbows into the chest now. Harsh elbows as well. But Tozawa is reeling slightly. He's taking time to recover, but so is Suicide. Both these men having a bit of, struggling a little bit. feeling the effects of this hard-hitting matchup thus far. Suicide, oh God, with that leaping cutter. Well, that may be it for Tozawa. Just dropped onto the floor there, head pummeling into the floor, but it seems not. Tozawa kicks out, and this matchup stays alive. Well done there by Tozawa. He's fighting on, but for how much longer? Suicide right now in the driver's seat. Springboard leg drop there. What else will he look for? Nothing more, it seems, because there's a counter by Tozawa. Spin heel kick counted into a perfectly timed chin lock, and oh, that's a hard landing. Not a hard landing, it was a drop kick into the back. Don't know what the fuck I was on about. Jawbreaker there. Tozawa now looking to explode with offense, but once more Suicide quick to stop it. Suicide now. Oh, this is going to look pretty bad. Oh, God. Dumped right there with all that weight coming down on Tozawa, and he still kicks out. Has to be getting to Suicide now. Surely Suicide must be getting frustrated as this goes on. If he, is able to convey emotions. We talk about D Malenko being stone, being the Iceman, but Suicide certainly demonstrates that in better fashion. Double knees there by Suicide. What's he going to do now? Oh, it's another knee in the head. That's what it is. Oh, and he's going to the corner. You want to talk about knees in the head. Here comes perhaps one of the hardest hitting knees Tozawa will receive for some time. Suicide. Running knee. Busts him open. And may have just defended the Cruiserweight Championship for Suicide. Apparently not. He's not done yet. He is just now pummeling away on the knee of Tozawa for whatever reason he sees. Suicide, I think you've done enough. Your opponent's busted open. But apparently it seems not in the eyes of Suicide. There's a clothesline. Oh, here we go. This is going to be the final blow. Will he hit it? Kick in the gut. Akira Tozawa hit with D.I.Y. Dead on arrival. There's 1, 2, 3. Suicide is still your Cruiserweight champion. He is right now completely unstoppable. Or so it seems. Suicide retains that title again, and it really is just so difficult right now to say who can stop him. Is Neville next in line with the with the attitude he's been having as of late? Is it Jericho if he can beat Neville later on tonight? I don't know, but he's knocked off 2 of his challenges now on 2 occasions. He's beaten Malenko. He's beaten Malenko twice, and now he's beaten Tozawa twice. Who is next for Suicide? I'm not too sure, but the next time Suicide will defend his championship will be decided through a #1 contenders match, as opposed to the voting part. But that's what we got to do around here. Got to make our Cruiserweight Championship division, try and make it stand up to the women's division that we're seeing. But congratulations here to Suicide on another title defense. What is next for this man? I truly don't know, but we're going to move on to our next contest. Tag team matchup. D.I.Y. against the Wyatt family. It is time to see how the new Cruiserweight champion can... the new tag team champions even can hold up since winning those belts at Heatwave. We shall see what that is going to be like. Here come D.I.Y. towards the ring, filled with a little bit of exuberance and a little bit of confidence to them. Can they hold on to those can they win this match here over the tag team champions and really throw a spanner in the works in regards to who is going to be the next challenger for those titles? Maybe so. Because you could argue right now the #1 contenders may be AJ Styles and Shawn Michaels after their performances recently, but you never know. The Authors of Pain may want to throw their names in the hat as well. The ECW tag division perhaps alive with a bunch of new talent now running around trying to claim that #1 contender spot, but we know who is claiming the championship spot, and that is these 2 men, Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, who walked through the dirty heels at Heatwave to successfully win those tag team titles. Bray Wyatt's second tag team title within this universe. The first one in his history for Braun Strowman. The first championship he's ever held as well. And now here tonight, the Wyatt family prove why they are such a destructive force as they look to walk through D.I.Y. and go on to another victory. I mean, D.I.Y. is a very strong test for these two men. At the end of the day, Gargano and Ciampa are very, very talented competitors. And I truly think that it's one of those cases where if D.I.Y. can find an opportunity to capitalize, they can win. So that being said, there is always the man lingering behind Bray Wyatt who is a true difference maker in any matchup. The monster among men, Braun Strowman. You get him in this matchup and it will be difficult to keep him down for good. Samoa Joe couldn't. Baron Corbin has failed. Even the ECW champion Diamond Dallas Page has failed to do so. And when you put all that into perspective, when you put all that together, you realize, so long as Braun Strowman is in this matchup, can he really be stopped? And can the Wyatt family truly be stopped? We'll find out tonight as Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman's first tag team matchup as tag team champions gets underway. So now the bell rings, we're underway. Ciampa going to kick things off here against Bray Wyatt. Ciampa running right out of the blocks there. Sling blade down onto Wyatt. If you saw the way in which the Wyatt family won those tag team titles, the Heat Wave, it was a very all-out kind of venture. There was Bray Wyatt sent on splash into Braun Strowman's power slam, and then the Sister Abigail that firmly ended it all. Austin Aries going hell of a rough downfall to lose that those tag team titles that they have tried so hard to get there, that they've tried so hard to keep over these last few months. Didn't get any better for them last week when they were defeated by Shawn Michaels and AJ Styles as well. Bray Wyatt, oh my god, look at the strength there of Ciampa. What a counter by the runner-up of the 2017 King of the Ring. Absolutely phenomenal job there to catch him. And Bray Wyatt, though, able to go right to work on Johnny Gargano as he's tagged in. Gargano now, Irish whipped. Oh, back body drop. Nasty landing to follow suit. And another big kick in the back. Nice counter, though, into the turnbuckle now. We see... Oh! Let's see. Perhaps Gargano could get something going in the corner, but it seems not. He is being very stubborn, though, in his own right, and that is perhaps for the best because of the man who is standing on the apron and the man who, it seems, desperately wants to be tagged in right now. Chop countered. Not too sure what Gargano was looking for there, but it definitely didn't connect. In the corner once more. Tag made. Braun Strowman is in this matchup. The monster among men has been tagged in. And oh, good God, what a harsh landing that one is for Johnny Gargano. What will Braun do now? Look at this. Immediately in the ring and leaving an impact within moments. What a power slam that was there. Or press slam even. Gargano doing the right thing here and tagging in Ciampa. The pound for pound strength that the Psycho Killer presents is outstanding, but he's brought to a halt there immediately. These two men have met in the past when Ciampa was Cruiserweight Champion. Braun Strowman just kind of throwing his match out of the window for his own benefits. Just clubbing blows in the back there. Braun, of course, still undefeated, yet to lose a matchup, and it has been pivotal, really, to why Bray Wyatt selected him to try and win those tag team titles with him. Oh, God. Oh, the big boot there that we've seen connect on so many occasions. Missed by Strowman. Sling blade once more by Ciampa. And look, this is... Oh, I thought he was going to go make a tag into Gargano again. I was going to say that is how they're going to have to operate. But Strowman now is going to throw Ciampa in the corner, and the tag's going to be made. In comes Wyatt. And here's a move right out of the Four Horsemen's playbook. Oh, double axe handle into the back. Not a particularly nice impact to receive. And now Bray Wyatt, Uranagi once more focusing on that back. The Sister Abigail isn't going to do it, which we're about to see right now. If this isn't going to be the cause for the win, then I think the running power slam will be, with all the work they've done on Ciampa's back. But we'll see if Ciampa can find his way to kick out of this one. D.I.Y in huge trouble. Sister Abigail. Bray Wyatt there, nailing Ciampa into the cover here. There's two, and oh well, that didn't go the way he wanted it to. Braun Strowman accidentally knocking out the referee there in amongst all of that. That means this matchup has to continue on. I can't imagine Bray Wyatt is too thrilled about this matchup continuing on, or about Braun Strowman doing what he did. Maybe this might be his way of punishing him, getting him back in the matchup, forcing him to take potential moves and pain that Bray Wyatt would otherwise have to take. Oh no, this is going to be a nasty chokeslam for Ciampa to deal with one arm. Strowman pulls that one off. And this time, oh, it's counted again. He's able to counter it again. Fair play to Ciampa. Despite what he's been hit with thus far, he's still got some good speed to him. And he slams Strowman. Spine, but nah, this ain't happening. You're thinking a bit too much of yourself here, Ciampa. Oh, yep, there it is. Countered there in the corner now. This isn't where you want to be. Oh, my God. Leaping splash. And Strowman seems to think that's it. Cover here on Ciampa. Gargano goes outside, and the Wyatt family are victorious. Thank you very much indeed. Alright, well, this has become a bit of a grudge feud in a way over the last few weeks. We didn't expect it to be this significant, but apparently that is what has happened over these last few weeks. What seemed to be absolutely, well, just nothing at first, what seemed to be just like a normal match about to take place, was far from it when these two men got into a sudden brawl backstage. Jericho was left lying out on the locker room floor by Neville, and then well, it all came to a head, of course, a heat wave a few days later, in which Neville was defeated by this man, much to his chagrin, I imagine. And oh, speak of Neville, here he is, getting the blind side on Jericho, as he did with Hideo Itami in weeks before. Neville's recent attitude has just, well, he's just reached a boiling point, really. Neville is not the man he used to be at this point. He is far different now. A new attitude to him. An attitude of the older Neville, the Neville that didn't care about anyone but himself and Europe's finest. However, that was the attitude that brought Neville success. It brought him championships, and maybe that's why Neville uses it nowadays. Whatever it is, this exuberance to him, it's getting attention to his name, and certainly targeting a big name as well, in that of Chris Jericho, is getting some headlines around ECW. Dropkicked right in the knee there. Gotta assume this is Neville looking for his quest to become #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. Good counter there. And flying forearm, he decked him. Jericho able to get a bit of breathing room over Neville, and hopefully for his sake take off that jacket. There we go. In this rematch now, will he be able to bounce back? Will Jericho be able to secure another victory, or will Neville perhaps force a third match out of these two men? Seems as if we're going to find out momentarily, because these two men have just gone all out to start things off with. Tilt-a-whirl DDT there by the man that gravity forgot. Neville now. Irish whip. Oh, nice duck under. But it's a good counter there by Jericho, the most experienced man, I would argue, you could argue, on the ECW roster. Certainly a veteran in many rights, the leader of the Four Horsemen. Boatloads of experience. Oh, under his belt, and the ability to counter any move, as we just saw there with that super kick. Wow. Caught Neville right in the jaw, and now Jericho able to capitalize on it. Elbows in the face there of Neville. But Neville is staying calm in the moment. The two-time television champion, just making sure that he doesn't lash out, make a mistake that Jericho can capitalize on. Neville, of course, still a very young man. Still prone to having outbursts, really. The same cannot be said for Jericho. Much calmer. Oh, much more relaxed kind of man. Jericho now, after getting off to this good start, might be looking for the walls of Jericho there, but Neville was having absolutely none of it. Neville in position, standing corkscrew moonsault, and you know what this means? Right after it to the top rope. Neville trying to put this one away as quickly as possible. Imploder 450 with a rotation in midair. Imploder 450 with a 180 rotation to suit. There's a cover by Neville, and good God, Neville just beat Jericho in a matter of minutes. This is the new Neville, I think is the best way we can describe him. He has changed his attitude. He has completely changed himself up. And look at the experience it's brought him. But look at some of the enemies it's brought him as well. It's the man of 1,000 holds. The man who was attacked backstage by Neville at Heatwave. Dean Malenko is here. And he's going to try and take it now to Neville. Neville looking to fight back here as these two men may brawl. Neville in a lot of trouble. Russian leg sweep. Malenko was shoved into a shutter by Neville following his loss to suicide for the Cruiserweight title, and now he's getting his revenge. Now he's acting out. Malenko here has had enough of Neville. Had enough of the way in which he runs around this roster. But look at how Neville is just about able to fight back here against Dean Malenko. Trying to send the Iceman pack in. Can he pull it off? It would be amazing if he could. It would really send a message if he was able to floor Malenko as well. Super kick in the jaw. Great counter though by Malenko. What will he look for here? Dean Malenko has him in position for something. Looks like it might be a brainbuster. Indeed it is. Brainbuster floors Neville. And Dean Malenko may have had the last laugh, but he's got a microphone in hand as well. And Malenko immediately stating his disdain for everything that Neville's been doing within this Cruiserweight division recently. I like this. I like this hatred that these two men are currently having for each other. And there, the threat. You may have knocked me out, but I'm here to make you tap out. You can certainly tell that there is no love lost between these two men. And there is the threat. Malenko challenging him to a matchup next week. Oh my. Well, he's put it out on the table. Now it's just up to Neville to accept it, or maybe even for me to decide. You know what? When Malenko puts out a challenge like that, it is difficult to just put it aside and just think, nah, let's not go ahead with our matchup. Malenko wants Neville, and you can certainly feel the intensity when he says it. Well, you know what? If Malenko is so adamant to have this matchup, if he is so adamant to get his hands on Neville, I can't stop him. Next week, Dean Malenko will square off one-on-one against Neville. The winner will get the shot at suicide. I know Malenko really shouldn't have that matchup, considering he has wrestled twice for that title and twice he has been unsuccessful. But I do believe that his performance at Heatwave is deserving enough of at least one more opportunity. And Neville, with the way in which he's been acting as of late, I also believe he deserves that shot at the Cruiserweight Championship. So next week, those two men will square off. The Cruiserweight number one contender will be decided for the Cruiserweight Championship. That title, though, will not be defended at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but probably going to be in the weeks beforehand. With that being said, we focus right now. Sheamus against Roddy Strong. Roddy Strong wins here tonight. Like I said, I see no reason why why Roddy Strong even shouldn't be the number one contender. Dean Ambrose is ECW Television Championship. Roddy Strong, of course, picked up a win a few weeks back in a tag match. Pinned Dean Ambrose. Pinned Bobby Roode last week as well. So Roddy's certainly on a wave of momentum right now, looking to overcome the former ECW champion and tag team champion that Sheamus is, in order to hold on to that right to become #1 contender. Let's see if he can outlast him here tonight. Let's see if Roddy Strong can become the #1 contender for the Cruiserweight, for the, wow, I keep on saying that, for the ECW Television Championship. We'll see how his opponent, should he win this matchup, will fail later on tonight, of course, when Dean Ambrose is in that main event against Seth Rollins. Four Horsemen has helped out Roddy well. He's a little bit silent for a few weeks, but that tag match really woke up Roddy Strong, and certainly has given him the ability to just act independently, really act on his own. It just goes to show how the Four Horsemen are developing stars once, you know, again and again. And who knows? I mean, if I was the Four Horsemen, Roddy may have a little bit of fine-tuning left to do, but I think Corbin is at his peak. I think he's as good as he's going to get, so maybe, you know, they may let him be an honorary horseman, but with the way it's worked as kind of a graduation system, they may let him go, and they may bring in a new horseman to fine-tune, to make us a new athlete. You never know. I mean, well, if anything to go by, look what happens when they're let out of the horseman. Just look at the NXT champion, Kazuchika Okada. That's a fine way of showing how it goes when you're let out of the horseman, I think. But I think Roddy still needs some fine-tuning, because as we're seeing, he is still having some problems, such as walking into a wall. Into a wall? Into a turnbuckle. Nice stomps there on Sheamus, though. But Sheamus is... Oh, if you get into try and get into a brawl with Sheamus, he is going to respond twice as hard. The Celtic Warrior has some incredibly devastating strikes to his name. And now the Celtic Warrior going to look for a suplex here on Roddy. Has him up and down. Roddy Strong in a little bit of trouble there. Certainly a resilient superstar, though. And now Roddy Strong with him up on his shoulders. Roddy Strong, of course, though, also known as the Master of the Backbreaker. Certainly something he'll need to work on, especially with how tough Sheamus can be. And Sheamus will respond with some moves of his own to work on Roddy's back. The Irish Curse Backbreaker. The High Cross or whatever it is. White Noise even, that's what he calls it. The Celtic Cross as well will certainly do his job. Should he go for it? He may rely, though, upon the bro kick. Good drop kick. That was the brogue, not the bro. Sheamus is not a full-blown loser. Roddy now up top. Looking to deliver maybe a drop kick to Sheamus. Oh, top rope leg drop. Very nice. Very nicely hit indeed. But Sheamus there saw his back exposed. Oh my god, what a rough landing that one was for Roddy. He's gonna feel that one in the morning, that's for sure, but it's only a 1 count for right now. Headbutt there, countered by Roddy. Bit of back and forth between these two men right now. Roddy shouldn't have overshot that, or undershot that one even. He's staying on the offense right now on Sheamus, but Sheamus is able to get up to his feet as well. This one's, oh, cravat neck breaker, nasty landing. That always, the way it just tweaks your neck is always going to leave one hell of an impact on you. It certainly just disorientates you really with the way your neck is tweaked. Sheamus right now in quite a bit of control here of Roderick Strong. Not something you usually see from a male superstar, but alright, that is exactly what it seems Sheamus wants to do. Good counter there by Roddy. Oh, what an uppercut. Now what will Roderick Strong look for? Oh, is it going to be? It's going to be this. Up on his shoulders. Gutbuster by Roddy. Following it up now. Will he be able to hit that drop kick? He will not. Great move by Sheamus there to get out of the way. And you can see the pain that seemed to go through the head there of Roddy Strong. Upon impact, Sheamus now going to look to immediately capitalize. White noise maybe for Roddy Strong. And down he goes. Can Sheamus bring a halt to Roddy Strong's quest to become #1 contender? No, Roddy Strong still kicking out very early there. Can he pull off anything here? Will either man be able to gain an advantage now? It's been very back and forth throughout this match. Sheamus with Roddy up on top. Those repeated strikes in the face. Off now. Roddy can fly from the top. Oh, what a drop kick. Can this be Roddy's invitation to fight back? Roddy going to try and use his pound for pound strength here to hit this suplex. Not going to be. It's countered into a suplex of his own. Oh, leaping knee drop as well. That's going to soften up the head for the bro kick, which Roddy may be in for sooner than he may expect. You never know with Sheamus what he's able to execute when he's able to pull that move out of the bag. Roddy, though, able to pull his own move out of the bag. Suplex back, breaker, and he gets it. He gets it on Sheamus. That could be it. That could really be it. Is Roddy about to become #1 contender? There's 2. And oh, Sheamus kicks out at the count of 2. Much to the dismay of Roddy Strong there. Sheamus is able to kick out, but he's in a lot of trouble here. Oh, he's putting his hands on the Mohawk. Think about what you are doing, but there. It's Sheamus who's right away able to counter out again on Roddy Strong. Irish whip here, Roddy off the ropes. Bro kick! Roddy never saw that one coming. Bro kick lights up his face. And oh, Sheamus plays spoiler again. Sheamus putting the brakes on Roddy Strong becoming #1 contender. And perhaps stating that he believes he's next in line for that shot. Well, we may need a rematch between these two men as well, but it certainly seems as if Sheamus is ready to stake his claim in amongst all this and say that he is the next man in line for the ECW Television Championship. It is what Sheamus needs to complete that Triple Crown Championship. Can he pull it off? Well, we'll find out. I'm not even too sure if I want this man to become #1 contender yet. I mean, all well and good winning a match, but it's just a random match in the middle of nowhere. You never know with the past record of Sheamus. Maybe Roddy Strong just needs another opponent. I'll decide what I want to do regarding this, but as of right now, Roddy Strong not #1 contender yet. But speaking of #1 contenders, speaking of titles, coming up next we're going to hear from the ECW champion himself, Diamond Dallas Page. It's not something I want to hear. This is not something I'm going to try and hear. So instead, I'm probably going to leave the room while Paige speaks. That probably sounds best. Let's listen to some lies and some bullshit. I already hate being here. I mean, we'll see. I'll see how far I can last in this promo. I'll leave the moment he starts lying. So I should really get up off my chair right now and just get out this room. But anyway, here comes Diamond Dallas Page. Let's see what he's got to spew out of his mouth. Alright, yep, he's lying already. Pittsburgh isn't a great city. Let's go. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything, did I? Nah, who am I kidding? It's a Diamond Dallas Page promo. There's nothing to miss. Just a bunch of lies, just a bunch of propaganda, and a bunch of bollocks to fit his own agenda. To make people believe that what he is saying is the truth. He's done it for months now, and people still believe that what he is saying is the truth. People still believe that he should be supported for him ending the NWO. A little bit of a reminder for that one. That one wasn't single-handed. He didn't end the NWO faction by himself. It was a group effort, and the group in question had a certain Seth Rollins in it right at the start. Page stole that spot right at the end of it all, claimed all the glory for himself, and since then, people believe that he is the savior of ECW. No. He was not the savior of ECW, but he was rather the continuation of its death. This man is the savior. That right there is the man destined to bring peace, hope, and balance to this brand. But people, for whatever reason, still cannot get that through their minds. They still think, like with Raw, that the true heroes are those who are actually the villains. They are true heroes are the ones who are stabbing them in the back and using them to get their own needs. Diamond Dallas Page is the key example of that on this brand. And at Money in the Bank, once and for all, Seth Rollins will inherit the wealth and the influence that is waiting for him here in ECW. And Diamond Dallas Page will have nothing to live for. Diamond Dallas Page will have no money in his bank, no diamonds to speak of. Instead, once more, he will go 6 feet under, we will prepare his own grave, and this time, the bitch will lay in it. Ding dong, the bitch will be dead at Money in the Bank. But until then, while Diamond Dallas Page just comes out here and says a few words about how he loves the crowd and then refuses to have a matchup to prove it, Seth Rollins will fight. Seth Rollins will square off one-on-one here tonight because he is the fighting champion. That is who Seth Rollins is. Not a boatload of lies, not a false narrative. Seth Rollins is as honest as it gets. The working man's champion. That is Seth Rollins. But yet no one can learn to appreciate him. Rollins is saving this brand and he is saving everyone. But just because Diamond Dallas Page says, "Oh, I love this city, I love ECW, I love the fans," people suddenly think he's the one to go to. So if Seth Rollins came out next week and said that he loves each and every one sitting in the seats, you'd start cheering for him? Is that the small-minded mentality that his doubters present? So if that's the case, Rollins, well, you know how to get people on your side. Or maybe they just can connect with Diamond Dallas Page because he's as dim-witted as the rest of them. If you doubt Seth Rollins, if you think Seth Rollins is the stupid choice, well, you are stupid in your own right. And maybe Seth Rollins is unable to save you. So maybe you should just all go fall away with Diamond Dallas Page. And jump in that grave with him. You'd be doing us all a favor. Focusing back on the main event here now. Ambrose and Rollins. Former members of the Shield. Former brothers. Both former world champions, of course, in their own right. And my goodness, what a difference a few years makes. 2 years ago, well, just over 2 years ago, Ambrose was the Intercontinental Champion. Rollins was a part of the longest reigning champions of all time with Roman Reigns. And these two men were being led by CM Punk. Now they walk to their own drum, to their own beat. And now, 2 years later, they've both been to the top. They've both had that moment that can define their careers. They've both had a world championship to hold. Seth Rollins has had his WrestleMania moment. And Dean Ambrose, meanwhile, has become nothing more than a bizarre... Well, he's become a bizarre lunatic. But he has done his greatest to hang on to that television championship. Ambrose right now. This is what's going to make this matchup, I think, so difficult. Even though it's been 2 years, these two men know each other so well. It's going to be just really difficult to know how to get around. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses so well. And I know it's been, like I said, I know it's been 2 years, but some strengths and weaknesses just stay with you for your entire life. And that may be what is apparent between these two. Ambrose there, you saw trying to get that top rope elbow, but right now Rollins is making sure to try and keep Ambrose at bay. Back and forth counters right now by both men. They're still in somewhat of a feeling out process because neither man has been able to utilize a whole boatload of offense. I mean, Ambrose has been getting in like chin locks, like we see there, another chin lock and simple moves like that, but he's not been able to get out the big moves. He's not been able to execute anything huge, and the same can be said for Seth Rollins. Lot of reversals thus far that have paced this matchup. Rollins now, sling blade, and down goes Dean Ambrose. Here we go now. Seth Rollins going to go up high. Phoenix Splash on its way. Rollins going to connect. There it is. Beautiful move by Seth Rollins into the cover. Will it put away Ambrose? There's two, and it's not going two. Always a lovely sight, though, to witness. That Phoenix Splash. Oh, that went nasty for Ambrose. Looked like he wanted to take flight there, and he just completely paid for it. Over the top rope he went. Rollins certainly leaving his impact there, and now Rollins, Phoenix Splash. Springboard. Phoenix Splash there to Ambrose. Lovely move. And now he's in total control of the Lunatic Fringe. The television champion under a bit of trouble by the future ECW champion. Great counter though by Ambrose. And now the Lunatic explodes away. Rapid punches on the chest. The Lunatic side of Dean Ambrose has come out to play. And Ambrose maybe looking for dirty deeds here. Maybe looking to pull off a shock victory maybe over Rollins. Dirty deeds is counted in an almighty fashion. What a reversal by Rollins. Good God almighty. That is a reversal of a world champion. That is a reversal of an absolutely incredible superstar. Up on top now, Seth Rollins. Gonna take him for a ride as we've seen before. Superplex. Rolls through into Falcon Arrow. I will say it again. One of a kind superstar. That is Seth Rollins. Rolls through in the schoolboy. Avara Kedavra. Rollins, it is time to bring the end to this matchup. Ambrose fought valiantly, but a curb stomp will end it all. Into the pin for Rollins after his neck spasms in the ropes. There's two. There's three. Seth Rollins has defeated Dean Ambrose and defeated him in a strong fashion to boot. But as Dean Ambrose recovers here from that matchup here tonight, Seth Rollins isn't done. Seth Rollins is going to use his former Shield brother to send a message to Diamond Dallas Page to tell him his days are numbered around this brand. Steel chair drilled into the back of Dean Ambrose, and oh no, oh for God's sake he's here. Page has arrived. Rollins misses with a chair shot. Page now on the offensive. Rollins might be sent reeling. This is one of Page's last stands before Money in the Bank.